the ability to be feeling like what you're doing is impacting the world in a positive way. But there is something self-serving about it because it fills me up too, right? It does. But what do you do on the days that it doesn't?
Last summer, there was an onslaught of mass agents that came to Los Angeles to kidnap people. And some of the street vendors, many of the street vendors that we work with, let us know that they were afraid to work outside. These workers, these entrepreneurs still need to pay their bills, Traci. So we started to really put resources into this new program that helps street vendors build their capacity as catering. It's hard not to sort of see them in the pride that they have in what they do and to hear about the challenge that they're facing and how they're overcoming and not sort of get inspired. And so sometimes on a rough day or when I'm not sure what I'm doing or I'm looking for guidance, it's as easy as me asking how they're doing, what they're doing, and asking them for advice. How do they process challenges and how are they problem solving and how are they getting inspiration?
I love that. Thank you so much. Hi, welcome to Making Impact. I'm here with my friend, Rudy Espinoza, who is the CEO of Inclusive Action. Welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm happy to have you here. Very excited. So how are you?
I'm doing good, Traci.
Are you?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I had a rough morning, but I'm settling down now. And thank you. Just having you here feels a lot better. So today we're going to talk about the fun stuff, right? Economic justice, community advocacy, the way that you have to work really hard to talk and advocate for a system that was never built for the people that we serve. Tell me a little bit about what you do at Inclusive Action.
I'm very happy to talk about Inclusive Action, but I wanted to actually begin by sharing something that I've been thinking about the last few hours. Do you know who John O'Donohue is?
I do not.
He's an Irish poet, spiritual guy in like the Celtic tradition. He passed away years ago, but he's really well known. He's like a best-selling author. And a friend of mine recommended a book of his, and it's a book of poems. And I picked it up this morning after I woke up, and I opened the book, and I landed on a poem called Finding the Unknown Self. And it really hit me because in the poem, he's talking about the fact that all of us have a self beneath who we think we are.
Yes.
An unknown self, and he describes it really beautifully. And so that really got me thinking about what I'm doing here today and like what I'm supposed to be doing on this earth. And I think that part of my work right now is to try to figure that out. And I'm really blessed that at work at Inclusive Action, I get a chance to sort of flex that a little bit. And I feel like it's really aligned with my passion and what I'm supposed to be doing. But I think I'm on a journey right now to try to figure out what my unknown self is. Does that make sense?
It really does. And you know what's really going to make you laugh is, so Monday, I got here Saturday. On Monday, I went and met with a friend because I've been going back and forth with one of my dear friends at home who's in the middle of writing a book. And he's also a teacher at NYU. And he's writing this book about teaching people how to be good people and be good at business. And so he incorporates a lot of philosophy. And I practice a lot of like meditation and rituals to sort of try to help me be the best version of myself I can be. And we were going back and forth, and one of the discussions we had was the authentic self that we have and then the actualized self. Like, so where are we sitting today with who we are? And where can we be the best version of ourselves? And what does that line look like? And how are we measuring the duality of leadership, right? The totality of saying we're losing federal funding or we're seeing people suffering and there's unfair systems, and we're desperately trying to advocate for those voices that aren't being heard or giving them the opportunity to have their own voices at the table. And how do we take how that impacts us as humans, personal life and professional life? You have duality. It's like, here's myself, here's what I'm thinking, like Maslow's, your basic needs, and then the soul of your organization, the soul of the work that you do. Both have a soul, and they need to exist at the same time. It sounds like you opened the book, you found this poem, and it was really meaningful to you. Would you mind reading it?
Sure, I'd love to read it.
All right. Thank you.
The poem is called For the Unknown Self by John O'Donohue. So much of what delights and troubles you happens on a surface you take for ground. Your mind thinks your life alone. Your eyes consider air your nearest neighbor. Yet it seems that a little below your heart, there houses in you an unknown self who prefers the patterns of the dark and is not persuaded by the eye's affection or caught by the flash of thought. It is a self that enjoys contemplative patience with all your unfolding expression, is never drawn to break into light, though you entangle yourself in unworthiness and misjudge what you do and who you are. It presides within like an evening freedom that will often see you enchanted by twilight without ever recognizing the falling night. It resembles the under-earth of your visible life. All you do and say and think is fostered deep in its opaque and prevenient clay. It dwells in a strange yet rhythmic ease that is not ruffled by disappointment. It presides in a deeper current of time, free from the force of cause and sequence that otherwise shapes your life. Were it to break forth into day, its dark light might quench your mind, for it knows how your primeval heart sisters every cell of your life to all your known mind would avoid. Thus it knows to dwell in you gently, offering you only discreet glimpses of how you construct your life. Yeah. At times, it will lead you strangely, magnetized by some resonance that ambushes your vigilance. It works most resolutely at night as the poet who draws your dreams, creating for you many secret doors decorated with pictures of your hunger. It has the dignity of the angelic that knows you to your roots, always awaiting your deeper befriending to take you beyond the threshold of want, where all your diverse strainings can come to wholesome ease. Wow. For the Unknown Self.
Thank you. That's honestly phenomenal. We could probably do a whole podcast dissecting this piece by piece. Is there any one particular part that jumped out at you this morning?
Well, I mean, I think that the title For the Unknown Self got me because I'm like, man, there is a piece of me that I don't quite know yet. And I want to get to know that sort of spirit inside of me. One of the sentences that I really like, the verses is this unknown self, it presides within like an evening freedom. And after a long day of work, yeah. When I look for get the bottle of wine out, I'm just like, yo, I'm free for the day.
Yeah. And that's a sense of,
yes. And so that's the unknown self that I was like, I need to tap into that more. There's so many good things in this poem, but to me, it's like, man, I want to operate every single day like the evening freedom, with ease, with gracefulness.
I love how it says it gives you glimpses
yes.
of it also, because I think that's what's going to draw you to exploring and trying to find out what that is more.
Yeah, the last one that I'll share with you that really got me at the end is this unknown self. It has the dignity of the angelic. Yes. That knows you to your roots.
Yeah, that I heard that too.
Oh exactly. My God. And it's like all of us are angelic in some way. We just don't see it. So anyway.
It's beautiful.
And I guess the John O'Donohue poem this morning got me thinking about my particular role and what is my soul? Who am I? Yeah. And I was telling one of your colleagues this morning that I have a call after this podcast with a potential funder to support the economic justice work we do at Inclusive Action. And I'm feeling grumpy about it.
Tell me why.
Just because it feels like a racket sometimes. You're just trying to make the case for this work.
Yes.
And I am thinking about what is my particular role. And I don't think my role is to raise money for a nonprofit. That's not why I'm on earth for. But I do think that the call that I'm having is really important. And I do have to figure out how I could tap into my unknown self, which is something that's way deeper than trying to get another grant for the organization. I need to figure out I'm on a journey right now to figure out how I could be the best leader. And in order for me to be the best leader, I need to be really tapped into the true purpose of what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Does that make sense?
It does. And this is another part of so what happens is he writes a chapter, sends it to me, and then I write all kinds of notes in a chapter, and then We kind of edit it together. Then he sends me another chapter, and then I write something and send it back. And we've been having this beautiful process and sharing these kinds of conversations. And I speak about it the same way. I said, how do I feed my soul and keep myself getting to like the best soul I can be? But at the same time, we do have the organizations, and I feel that I have to do both at the same time, but I also want the people in my organization to have that opportunity,
Yes.
right? To develop their own souls. Like our organizations have a soul, and it's up to us to kind of say, what is the framework for how that happens? And then not only creating the space for ourselves to develop our souls, but creating the space for everyone that works with us and alongside us, closest to the proximity of those issues, to have that for themselves too, so that they can pass it on to the most important people, which are those we're there to support and walk alongside the journey and why we're here, I think.
Yeah, I think it's making me also think about how I connect with other people's souls in that context, not only my staff, but the people we work with. Traci, I'll try to answer your question now about what we do at Inclusive Action. Inclusive Action is a nonprofit economic justice organization based here in Los Angeles. We invest in working people. That's what we do. And we're trying to build an economy that works for everyone, because right now the economy doesn't. There's so many people that are being left behind. Entrepreneurs that are being left behind, workers that are being left behind. Many families don't have resources for the basics. Inclusive Action was created to imagine a new way to care for them and to build an economy that works. And so I am so lucky to work on a team that has developed different tools in our toolbox to try to build an economy that works for everyone. One of the tools that we work with a lot is lending. So we are a certified community development financial institution. So we provide low interest loans and business coaching to entrepreneurs that would never be serviced by a big bank.
You've done it at a very large scale too. Did I see right with 7 million?
Yeah, over 10 million in microloans and grants that we've deployed to entrepreneurs. And if you look at our portfolio, you'll see street vendors, you'll see home-based businesses. A majority of our clients are women. A vast majority are entrepreneurs of color. These are folks that are working people in Los Angeles that don't have access to these things traditionally. So lending is a big tool. We're trying to cut checks and get money into people's hands.
Sure.
The other tool that we use at Inclusive Action is we are advocates. And so we've done a lot of work over the years to create new policies that support working people. A lot of people in Los Angeles know us for our work to legalize street vending that we did in partnership with many other groups. We've passed now 3 state policies that support street vendors, low-income entrepreneurs. We've passed policies to support brick and mortar businesses. We have a current legislation right now in Sacramento that's being heard that focuses on supporting gardeners, landscapers, so they can get rebates, so they can get electric equipment, because that's what's required.
You're transitioning.
We want to just transition for them too. So Inclusive Action is a really special economic development organization that focuses on supporting working people. And when I think about the unknown self, my unknown self, and I think about the soul of the work, I think about my team. My team is incredible, but I'm also thinking about the entrepreneurs themselves, like that are amazing, that have amazing visions for themselves and their families. And they deserve dignity. They deserve resources to try to accomplish that.
I agree. I think we had at one point, it might have been the last time we met when I was here, we talked about our UBI program, Cash and Community Works, and being able to do that. It's kind of the thing I went in feeling like I knew. I knew that given the right opportunity and the right resources, the folks that we serve would be highly successful, because like everybody, they have visions, they had ideas, they have passions, and they're already doing businesses or doing points of service. But the thing that I was really glad that it proved was once we started giving people UBI, and it was before we even started giving out grants, they could each get $200 themselves. And there were these little small groups that they came in with, because we really believe in the peer support also. So when we handed it out, I was thinking, let's see what they do. And everybody on the staff was instructed not to give any ideas or do anything. Trust people to do what they want to do with the money, no strings attached. let's see what happens. They started pooling their money to do community work themselves within their own communities. They did not take for themselves first. They did coat drives, they did backpack drives. We had a group of people that made flyers about mental health and where you could get resources, and they went to homeless shelters. So they were trying to destigmatize mental health and awareness. So I think, when we go back to our unknown selves or feeding the soul, because that's what this work always goes to. People, I'm sure, often ask you, and they always ask me, you're really good at running not-for-profits, but you're very good at business too. Why are you not in a for-profit sector? And I said, I don't have a desire to be. I don't think it does not feed my soul. It doesn't do for me anything. And there's a different balance here. It's the culture. It's the ability to be feeling like what you're doing is impacting the world in a positive way. But there is something self-serving about it because it fills me up too, right?
Sure,
it does. But what do you do on the days that it doesn't, right? Like I mentioned, I'm having a particularly difficult morning. Some days when I leave, whether it's the government, it's legislation, it's cases that aren't making it, kids that had been sex trafficked, and I sometimes shake my head and say, what a day. This is a rough day. What do you do on those days to, well, if you even have them, I'm assuming you have those days. I definitely do. What do you do for yourself to sort of keep that well-being?
Wine.
That's something, though.
That
do you have a
something.
circle of people that you can?
Sometimes I just need a little bit of a nightcap, I think,
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm always searching for new ways, new tools to keep me going. And we were talking to our friend Michael Tesler about video games.
Yes.
My PS5. Sometimes I just need 20 minutes of that to get me recentered. I talk to people and ask them questions. Like my morning conversation with Michael this morning, I was asking him about what he does when he's unhappy, when he's having a bad day, and then that really I asked him the same question you just asked me, and it was cool for me to learn because I'm basically like logging all these different insights to help me on my journey too. I really rely on some of my friends, my close friends, to process things. I like to read, like I just shared about the John
sure.
O'Donohue, book that I picked up this morning. I picked it up because I was searching for something, because I woke up this morning thinking that I needed a little bit of guidance. And so I'm like seeking what that answer is. One of my board members, Grace, talks about the whispers in the universe. And she sometimes says on a bad day, like, listen to the whispers, like they're there. There's things in the universe that are telling you, or they're trying to get you recentered, and you just got to pay attention.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Can you think of a time? Obviously it sounds like you had a little bit of that today.
Yeah.
Right? Because you picked up a book and you opened it and it just landed on something that spoke to you.
Yeah. I think that like last week we had we called it the Hire a Vendor Showcase. So my colleague Luis has been.
Wait, before you go on, I love that program. So can you just explain a
Yeah,
little bit of
totally.
what that is?
Yeah,
Because I totally
100%.
love that.
So last summer, there was an onslaught of mass agents that came to Los Angeles to kidnap people. And some of the street vendors, many of the street vendors that we work with, were starting to call our office to let us know that they were afraid to work outside because they were afraid of getting picked up. And these workers, these entrepreneurs, still need to pay their bills, Traci.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so my colleague Luis thought about, like, why don't we think about how do we connect them to other gigs so they don't have to be outside in the public right away? And we started to really put resources into this new program that helps street vendors build their capacity as catering
I absolutely love it. It's brilliant.
So he developed a curriculum. It's a multi-week curriculum. And then he organizes vendors in cohorts. So I think there was like 20 or so in this last cohort. And he trains them. And then at the end of when they graduate, quote unquote, from the program, they go into our Hire a Vendor network. The Hire a Vendor network is on our website, and you can go, and if you're looking for someone for a party that you might be throwing, at your kid's birthday party or a board meeting, and you want some food catered, you can hire a vendor. And so last week at our office, we had a showcase. We just said, you know what, these are all the newest graduates. We're going to invite people over for lunch, and they could meet the vendors and they could consider them for their
Right.
next event.
And were you serving their food at the
Oh
event?
yeah, they were
Yeah,
there.
that's
Oh, they
perfect.
were there. And so,
Yeah.
so to answer your question about how I get through things in the whispers,
Yes.
it's hard not to sort of see them in the pride that they have in what they do, and to hear about the challenge that they're facing and how they're overcoming, and not sort of get inspired. And so sometimes on a rough day, or when I'm not sure what I'm doing, or I'm looking for guidance, it's as easy as me asking how they're doing and
Right.
like what they're doing, and asking them for advice.
Sure.
How do they process, challenges, and how are they problem solving, and how are they getting inspiration? And so I get advice from them too. And so that day was beautiful, and got a lot of good feedback from our guests about how they were just so in awe of the food, but also in the way that they presented their food and how proud they were, And so
Well, food is a rep in my world, right? I think food is a representation of love and caring for
Yes.
people. And that's one of the reasons I think that is so important, because a lot of our work is done in Queens for Child Center of New York, which is another organization that I run. And every individual space, like little neighborhood in Queens, is like another country. Very authentic food, very authentic cultures. Most of our services are provided in like 25 or 26 languages because of that rich culture. And through our UBI program, a lot of businesses came up, and a lot were with cooking. The amount of pride and care that goes into the deliciousness of the food that people are making, but also the explanations of what it was for them. And I think that's also something, it's like a tradition. There's a food that you're eating when you're a child that somebody made for you that you think is delicious, and now you want to make it again for someone else. And you want that to continue to carry on. So there was another thing we talked about that was really important, which was the folks that do that business but now are getting older and not going to be able to do it any longer, and passing it on to the next generation. What are some of the plans on how we can care for them? Because they're not going to have a traditional 401k and a retirement plan, and that is, they've given service, they've fed people all across this place who can run in. I mean, think how many businesses benefit from street vendors because their workers come out, buy something, and go back to work, and they're getting good food and good nutrition.
Yeah, no, and this is, reminding me more of our conversation last about this topic. So let me tell you how we're thinking about this. So we, as you know, we provide loans to micro entrepreneurs, and as you know now, that most of them are women and most of them are immigrants, and we started to see recently that a lot of them were older entrepreneurs that were late, maybe in their 60s and 70s or even older. They were coming to seek out a loan to keep their business going. And so some of these entrepreneurs have a real business, like that. They could actually they could actually pay the debt service, and they could use that capital to grow their business. But then at some point, we started to meet some prospective borrowers, and we're like, man, this person shouldn't be working and stressed anymore at this late in life. But the reason why they were doing it is because they didn't have a social safety net to care for them. They didn't have a 401k plan. Maybe their kids themselves that they were relying on were also struggling in this economy. The economy has not been working for them. And so a couple of years ago, we were talking to our team, and some of our team members also were sharing their own family experiences of like, oh yeah, my grandma's still working in this way, and we don't want her to, but she needs income, and none of us can contribute. And so we started to talk about this in one of our coalitions, the Immigrants RLA Coalition. We've been working in this coalition for several years. This coalition focuses on advocating for immigrants in LA County, and appealing to leaders to invest in an infrastructure to support immigrants. And that in that coalition, we decided to prioritize this issue of supporting immigrant elders in LA that don't have a social safety net. So right now what we're doing is we're advocating for a GBI program to
Oh,
support
great.
elders
Okay.
in LA County. And that's a major piece of the platform. But what we envision is we believe that our parents and our grandparents should be able to rest with dignity and retire
Yes,
with dignity.
they should.
And they have raised us, they have taken care of us, they have contributed to our economy. They shouldn't be worried about the basics. And so we are advocating for that through our advocacy team, hoping that the Board of Supervisors in the county allocates a little resources to begin this pilot initiative to support our immigrant elders.
I love that. Thank you so much. And now, as you started talking about like our parents, our elders, so what brings you to do this work in the first place? What inspired you to say, I want to be an advocate, I want to fight for social justice, economic justice? Like, did you have this in your family? What was your sort of ethos for how you got here?
I think I know a piece of the answer as I'm like searching for the
Yes.
unknown self here for myself. But the story that I tell people, that what I carry with me, is that when I was a kid, I wanted to get rich. I wanted to
Right.
get money, just like the folks that are asking you why you're not in a for-profit.
Yes.
The reason why is because I grew up in a single parent household. My mom took care of my brother and I by herself. She was, as a third grade education, as a migrant from Mexico, and she worked as a waitress in a breakfast restaurant for 40 years to care for us. And she worked really hard, Traci.
Yeah.
And we didn't grow up, we grew up with economic instability. We were always worried about whether it was going to be busy at the restaurant, whether people were going to tip, hoping that we were not going to have any economic crisis, our car breaking down or a leak in the apartment, because we were worried. And I grew up wanting to get out of that.
Yeah.
And my mom always said, if you don't want to work like I do, you got to go to school. And so I did.
Yes.
And I'm the first in my family to go to college, and I majored in business.
Right.
Because I thought, well, if I got a business degree, I guess I'm going to get rich, right? And that's the plan.
Yeah.
In school, I took an elective and an ethnic studies course that opened me up to the fact that I was not unique. I just in college realized there was so many people that were struggling, not just my family.
Right.
And I started to really have more of a universal perspective with things. And I got really passionate about these problems. And I started to ask, why is it that we're struggling? Why is it that some people have so much and the rest of us don't? And that put me on a different path. I finished the business degree. I studied urban plan. I went to grad school to, continue to figure out what I was going to do. And I studied urban planning because I was interested in the study of cities and communities, because I
Right.
knew I wanted to work in community. And I came kind of full circle back to money, because I realized, as I started to talk to friends and learn more, that we needed to, if we were going to solve the issue of income inequality and economic instability, we needed to understand how money worked.
Right.
And so my whole career has been about getting resources into the hands of people that haven't had it. And so that's how I'm here. I'm really passionate about evening the playing field a little bit. I believe that our communities have dreamers and innovators and
Indeed.
amazing problem solvers, and we need to get them resources. And so my job is to try to figure out how to make that connection for them.
And I would argue, and I love that answer, but the thing I would argue too is I think we have some of the most innovative people because they've had to be.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be innovative. You have to be resilient. You have to know how to take something this big and make it bigger. You have to know how to stretch a dollar. Those resources those skill sets are transferable to everything. And that's the special sauce that I think people don't understand. And I even say this when I'm having conversations with kids in gangs or kids that are at our community centers in these housing projects. And they'll say, I'm a drug dealer. That's what I do. That's all I've ever done. And I'm like, all right, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What do you need to do to be a drug dealer, right? You need to know your product. You need to know that there's 28 grams in an ounce. You need to understand where your location is, how to market, how to be the one somebody goes to, right? Customer service. All of these are transferable skills. And when you really sit down and do an exercise on breaking this down for them and saying, when they say, you know how much money I make? I said, I don't think you make as much money as you think you do. 24 hours a day, high risk, and when I go through it and say, you can make this much money doing marketing, communications
Yeah.
for good, you're charismatic,
Yeah.
these are the people that are used to having charismatic conversations, used to having all of these, I don't know, I just, for me, that's the person I'm always looking at. Somebody that has
Totally.
lived experience, that has come from the places we're serving. I try to hire right from within those areas.
Yeah, I mean, I see those same skill sets in the entrepreneurs we work with and the street vendors. I mean, they're on the public right away. Like they're literally competing for space and dealing with law enforcement. And some of these entrepreneurs are gifted.
Yeah.
And I imagine a future in which our city sees that and says, "Man, we need their help for other topics, and we got to engage them and not push them aside."
Well, don't you think also they did realize that during COVID?
Totally.
Like, this is the thing that really annoyed me once. It was like, here we are, we're all essential workers now, right?
Yeah.
And so you have the DoorDash folks and the people that are bringing food to your home, so you don't have to go
Oh
out
my God.
and
They
get
kept
sick.
us fed.
Yes, and that's
How quickly we forget
yes.
what was essential during that time. And I think, oh man, we forget. So we have short-term memory issues. Like it's just not, I remember that time we talked about, my God, we need these farmers and, they were working and keeping us fed. And then now we're in a different time and we're okay with people getting kidnapped. We're okay with cutting their benefits and it's not right. And so I think part of the appeal, other than getting resources to people, I think the other piece of my work is really about being an advocate, reminding people.
I agree.
Trying to tap into something deeper of saying, hey, we need each other. And if that street vendor is better off, you're going to be better off. It's like we're all tied together.
I agree to that too. I think we are all tied together. And also, you said something important, getting resources to them. We always think of resources as monetary, right? We're getting you resources. It's monetary, it's service.
Yeah.
But the other piece is the actual dignity and the voice and the things that make us want to get up every day and be passionate about what we do. That's the piece I think that's the most important. When we talked about these programs, and it's what happens when we raise funds, right? We're charged with raising funds for our organizations at the expense of focusing on some of the other work that we wished or want to be doing that moves our missions further, expands our missions, creates innovative programming. And it is part of our job. And I always struggle with, like, you have to tell a sad story or something that pulls at heartstrings. And I've gotten less interested in doing that at all because it's like you constantly have to tell some graphic, horrible stories. And then people that have feel like, great, I can write a check and whew, the gods are clapping at me and I feel good.
It makes me wonder about maybe those people that need that don't know their unknown self yet.
Yes.
Like they haven't tapped into themselves. I think that makes me think too. All of us have work to do personally, but I share that. I don't call ourselves a charity. I hate that. I don't like that term. I feel like it puts us in a box of that's not essential to the economy. And I feel like when you come to my office, Traci, there's no charity workers there. There's lawyers. There's entrepreneurs.
That's right.
Like there's organizers. Like we have a lot of like, man, these people are really smart.
Well, that's what we told them.
And they've committed their lives to solve this societal issue. And we should respect them. This is not like a handout thing.
That's what people would tell us with the UBI. They'd say, I want to thank you so much for giving me this money. I said, I didn't give you any money.
Yeah.
You had a commitment that you made to a program that I needed you to give me data.
Yeah.
You had a job to do. Every month, all I asked them to do is journal, tell us what they did, right? Give us an idea, because I said, I'm learning from you. This is how we develop programs, is by the information you give us. So to that end, I think we have a job to do, which is, and this is how I've been changing my fundraising a bit. I won't do the stories. I won't do the charity anymore. I am trying to have that conversation with people about their inner selves. When they say, I know you probably want to check. I say, I don't want to check. Not yet. I want you to believe what we're doing. I want to know that you are aligned with our mission, because We don't want a one-night stand. I don't want you to
Yeah.
write one check and go away. I want you to
Totally.
understand what we're doing, believe it, and know it's important, because we're doing a service to you too. You have a certain amount of money you need to give away. I want to give you the right place to do it, that you can be proud and feel good about what you're doing because you're doing the right thing. But aside from that, I'm not just looking for that check.
I love that. I'm going to flex on that, Traci. I'm going to borrow that from you. One of the questions that I hate in this I don't hate it per se, but I don't like it very much, is when someone says, "Well, Rudy, how is your organization going to be sustainable?
Yes.
And how are you making you're charging such low interest rates on your loans? How are you sustainable over time?" And that question, to me, the way that I interpret it when somebody asks me that, a funder asks me that, they are asking because they're saying that they're not going to be here for the long term.
Exactly right.
They're saying, "Oh, I want to know how you're going to be sustainable, because I might give you a donation now, but I'm probably not going to do it next year." And what I've been pushing back on is like, well, let me tell you how I define sustainability. Sustainability means that you and I are going to be locked in together for a long time.
Right.
That we're going to be in solidarity, that we're going to be friends, that you're going to be part of our community, that you're going to even know our street vendors.
Right.
That this is what we need. And it's not about, that's sustainable.
That is.
You know?
It's a relationship.
It's a relationship.
And I think in good fundraising, that's the way people want it. That's the way, people that are really into philanthropy and want to know that their dollars, right? Because I was raising a lot of money for kids to graduate, but they're on literacy programs and
Right.
things like that. So, I want to know what happens when in 6 months or a year, I'm funding a third grade literacy program.
Right.
That is the trajectory for how you're going to graduate high school. Do you know what happens if you don't graduate high school? You're contributing to the trajectory of a child that's
Right.
going to graduate one day.
Sure.
And one of,
What do we lose if we don't invest in them?
That's right.
We're going to lose so much.
Yeah, and it's an imperfect system that they're in.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it. It's an imperfect education system, and it's not fair to every child that goes through it. So there's an opportunity for us to make sure we enhance it, and every child has that same opportunity, because that's another piece. Look, we know this, and I know I have to wrap up, so I'm not going to try to open up another can of worms for us, because we can talk for a while about this. One of the other discussions I had with my friend is where we trade all these philosophy readings and all of these books back and forth, and then write to each other and then have all these conversations, is money buys the seat at the table, and it decides who gets to speak. And that's the system that we're sort of fighting against a bit. And that, I think, is the bigger gift that I am always looking. I can handle all the basic needs. We can deliver services. We can do all those things. We can give out grants. Having the dignity for people to speak for themselves, to stand up for themselves, and to have the same aspirations we want, and we want our own children to have, is what I want for every single one of the people that walks through my door, so that one day I don't have a job because we did such a good job doing our jobs. We should put ourselves out of business if we do this right.
That's right. Well, Traci, I'm looking forward to deepening our friendship.
Me too.
In that work.
I am. And on this level, we talked a lot about getting a CEO circle where we can have these discussions about our unknown selves, around how do we keep ourselves healthy and developing as humans and as people, and then learning from each other.
Yeah.
Like the stuff I'm learning about what you're doing in inclusive action is informing all of my thoughts and decisions now in a new way.
I think you helped me for my next phone call, honestly. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank you
me.
so much.
I hope this is one of many times you'll
Yes.
join me, because we have a lot to do, and I look forward on partnering with you in some of the work we've talked about in the past.
Yeah,
So
me too.
Thank you, my dear friend, soon to be
Thank
better
you.
friend, for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you like us, hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So if you like what you see, you'll be told when it's happening. Thank you. See you next time.